Time and space is an illusion created by your mind.
Once time and space is not an issue, communication is simply there.
If you simply sit here, not being a victim of your mind, what is here is there, what is there is here. You didn't go anywhere, everything was here, that's all.
There are certain ways through which you can become less and less available to gravity. Certain people who follow the path of Hatha Yoga usually do these feats. Levitation. See, now I'm levitating. See? How could it happen? Is it what you're asking, or is it possible?
Is it possible? How did it happen?
See? Is it possible? It is possible. How does it happen? There are many ways, or there are certain ways through which you can become less and less available to gravity. There are certain practices, certain kriyas through which you become less available to gravity. Because of this, one may levitate, it's possible. Or when your kundalini raises with tremendous force, one may not levitate, but you can see one's body just taking off by itself and landing. It doesn't stay there, but it takes off and lands, takes off and lands. If you make a little effort, without any effort it's happening, but if you make a little effort, with little effort, when the energy is high, it happens. You must have heard of… you heard of Mayamma? The lady saint in Tamil Nadu, Mayamma, you heard of her? Nobody knew where she came from, but it looked like her features said that she must have been a Nepali. But she never spoke. She was in Kanyakumari, the very tip of southern India. Her friends were always dogs. She had a whole band of dogs behind her. She was so involved with these dogs that she would steal food from hotels. You know, in the small hotels they keep all these vadas and other things. She'll just go grab it and put it for her dogs. So many times people even physically handled her. People would beat her, throw stones at her, because she grabs food from everybody and gives it to the dogs. She never spoke. Then people found certain times when people went and watched her, she would be just floating on the waves of the ocean. She would just sit like this and simply float. So because of that, people stopped bothering her. They would protect their food, of course, but they wouldn't abuse her physically in any way because they saw her floating on the ocean. There are many ways you can make yourself less available to gravity. Can I do it? I want to walk on the planet. I have no intention of floating. Certain people who follow the path of Hatha Yoga usually do these feats. It is of no life significance. Now, if you float or if you levitate for a few minutes in a day, in what way does it alter your life? Our whole effort here is that you can walk through life very much on the ground, but you can walk through life no matter what happens with your life. No matter what kind of situations you face, you go through life untouched, still like a child as you were born. How many things happen in your life? It doesn't matter. How many things go wrong? Everything goes dead wrong. Every day is a crisis. But still you go untouched through life. This is a miracle. I want all of you to perform this miracle. On your deathbed, if you are like just born, that means you have performed a wonderful miracle of going through life untouched. That's possible. So, we are interested in performing that miracle. Floating in the air, walking upon the water, what will you do with it? 3 days if you walk upon the water, it'll be fine when you get all the attention. Every day if you start walking upon the water, nobody will look at you. They'll all take their speedboats and they'll go. Then you will also wish you had a boat, isn't it?
So we've read about a lot of yogis who travel across time. In a fraction of a second, they've traveled from India to China. That's where some of the
At
books
those
on
times,
yogis-
nobody was going to China. Only now everybody is going to China.
They can travel in a fraction of a second. Is that the travel which is the travel through mind or body, or if such a travel happens, is it possible?
Time travel. There's no need to travel. Time and space is an illusion created by your mind. You should transcend that. There's no here and there, there is no now and then. So if you are like that, if there are willing recipients, see right now, suppose we have a transmitter here. See right now it's happening actually. I am speaking here, see no wires, these wires are not connected to me, see, no wires. I am speaking here, it's coming out all over the place. Yes? No wires, because it's transmitting. Because it's transmitting, what I speak here is all over the place. So, your ability to transmit yourself, to what extent you can, simply depends on to what extent you are not. Is it physical, is it mental, is it this, is it that? These are all divisions made by your mind. Can you exactly divide where is your body and where is your mind? We can talk in that context only for the sake of understanding, not for the sake of perception, not for the sake of experience. You cannot experience your mind or your body or anything else separately, isn't it? If you did not have a mind, could you experience the body? Huh? No. So do you know where's your mind now? Do you know? No. So, it is just you, do you understand? The rest is all made up. You is good enough. Don't make up too many things. Don't make up too many things, because you're only confusing the whole issue. Instead of simplifying the issue, you're confusing the issue, you're complicating the issue. So, time, space, these are all made up in your head. Such things don't exist. If you simply sit here, not being a victim of your mind, what is here is there, what is there is here. You didn't go anywhere, everything was here, that's all.
Sadhguru, many years ago, when my son was a little kid, he gave me a book written by Swami Vivekananda. He was describing how ancient gurus could communicate with each other thousands of miles away just by thought. It's essentially It's like a modern internet, how one computer can communicate with another computer in US or Europe, anywhere. Do you believe that human mind can be trained to influence another human mind or people's mind who are far away just by tuning our mind to the right frequency? Can it be trained? Can we learn that art?
You're trying to beat the cell phone companies. It's not just about the mind. See, when we say mind, the English word mind is only generally referring to only the thought process. Thought process is the most surface element of your mind. I think because of European thought, we have given too much significance to the thought. In the yogic science, we do not attach any importance to what you're thinking about or feeling right now, because what can you think? Only the data that you have collected, you're recycling it. It's of no great consequence. Whatever is in the surface of your mind keeps rolling, that is not of any consequence. What you're thinking and feeling right now is very surface of mind. There are deeper dimensions of the mind. In Sanskrit language, there are many words to describe the different states of mind. But now there is one aspect of the mind, for lack of time and stuff, I'll leave those things. There is one aspect of the mind which we refer to as chitta. Chitta is the innermost core of the mind, which is your connection with what we are referring to as consciousness. If your chitta becomes conscious, if your chitta acquires a certain level of conscious control, if you acquire, now you have access to your consciousness. What we are referring to as consciousness is that dimension which is neither physical, nor is it electrical, nor is it electromagnetic. It is a quantum leap from physical to non-physical dimension. A non-physical dimension being the lap of the existence. It is the non-physical in whose lap the physical is happening. Physical is a small happening. In this cosmos, not even 2% or not even 1% is physical, rest is non-physical. This non-physical dimension, in the yogic terminology, we use a specific sound which is connected with that dimension. Today it's all very highly distorted. We call this Shiva. That means that which is not. When we say Shiva, we are not referring to some man sitting up there. We are talking about a dimension which is not, but it is in the lap of this dimension, everything that is happens. So if your chitta becomes even mildly conscious, your ability to not only communicate an idea or a thought, even to deliver something is possible. Physically deliver something is possible. So, is it a possibility? Definitely it is. Right now, can we teach it to all these people? In theory, yes. But are they willing to work towards it? That's a question mark. One big problem is, our education systems are such, we have glorified our thought to such a place. First, to bring that down itself will take time. To make them understand the stupidity of their thought, it will take a whole lot of time. Because everybody thinks they're smart, but actually the smartest thing about most people is their phone. So because your thought process is just an outcome of the limited data that you have gathered. It doesn't matter if I have read the libraries of the world, still it is too limited compared to what it is, what the creation is. With all the scientific development, we still do not know how a leaf really works. We do not know how a single atom in its entirety we do not know with all the scientific exploration. So that should be humbling enough for everybody to know that we know how to use things, but we do not know what it is. It will take lifetime of attention to even grasp the fundamentals of what it is. So if people are willing to first of all understand, like the whims of their heart, you just dismissed as dumb, okay? If they also understand the so-called smartness of their thought process and emotion is quite dumb, now it becomes easy. It becomes easy to train people. that communication it's not like, now I want to generate this thought and give it to you, not like that. Things will happen to you before you think. What is best for you will simply happen to you even before you articulate in your mind. You don't have to ever think what you want to become, how you want to be. Life will just arrange itself. An intelligence beyond what you can contain in this bone box starts working for you, and it'll work. You've heard of Ramanujam and others, just opened a window with their Devi, and he becomes that kind of a mathematician, which is, even today after 1 century, they're still trying to figure out what he said. And the mathematical calculations that he gave is the backbone for describing the black holes in the universe. When he was there was no word called black hole, nobody knew there is such a thing. When we say black hole, what we are talking about is the curve of time and gravity, which is something modern science is battling with. He made mathematical background for that. As the curve increases, what is in existence, physical existence, becomes non-existence. So this is what it is when we say yoga. You reduce the curve in such a way that what is largely physical becomes non-physical. Once it's non-physical, time and space is not an issue. Once time and space is not an issue, communication is simply there.
Sadhguru, we have heard many stories of people who enter into a deep state of meditation and they forego basic human necessities like thirst and hunger for several months together. But science says that a person can die within 10 days of not drinking water. So can you please explain us how such a state of metabolism can be attained?
For this you will have to bend your mind a little bit, because it's not in your textbook like this. Just day before yesterday, somebody sent me a message from the yoga center. There is something called as Dhyana Linga. This happens very often, but this happened to a foreign national, so the message came to me little concerned. So this person went and sat in Dhyana Linga at 7 o'clock in the morning, because everybody gets only a 15-minute slot to sit there because of the number of people. She sat there at 7 o'clock in the morning. She did not move till 3 p.m. How many hours is that? 3 plus 8 hours. She just sat there unmoving. She didn't realize that she's sitting that long. She thought she's going to sit for a 15-minute slot. So they sent a message to me, Sadhguru, like this, she's not moved, should we disturb her? I said, leave her alone, it's okay. Like this it happens. Once it happened, I sat down way back. I thought, this was new to me also at that time, I thought I'm going to… I sat there for 25–30 minutes. When I opened my eyes, a huge crowd in front of me in a village, garlands around my neck, they're all trying to pull my legs, in India, India being what it is. And the moment I open my eyes, somebody wants to know about his business, somebody wants to know when his daughters will get married, all kinds of things. Then I said, where did all you idiots come from? They say, you've been sitting here for 13 days. And so, what happens in the system? That's what you're asking. See, right now, I'm speaking. If you check my pulse, it's somewhere around 55, 58, in that region. If I simply sit quietly, it'll drop below 40. If I simply sit down and I'm doing something without interaction, talking, moving, if I simply sit, it'll drop below 40. Now this is at ease. This will not build any unnecessary friction inside. So the amount of energy it consumes is very low. All of you medical students, you know this, 20% of the energy in the body is consumed by your brain, though it is hardly a pound and a half at the most. So, this much body is consuming 20% of the energy. This much body is consuming only 80%. If you compare this and this in weight, What, it's 50 times more, much more. So, you must understand, if you keep your mind in a certain way, the amount of extra energy that you have is enormous because you're not unnecessarily consuming wasteful usage of energy is not happening. This is true with every system. Whether it's a car, whether it's a machine, whether it's anything, how friction-free it is running, that much energy will come down, isn't it? Anything that's happening with big friction will consume enormous amount of energy. So physiologically, psychologically, energy-wise, if you bring friction-free function of your system, metabolism will drop and you will function very efficiently because when you want to pitch it up, you have a whole range to pitch it up. When you want to lower it, it's there. Right now, the range that most people are carrying is very, very small. If you push them into activity, they will get totally tired out. If you don't, if they have nothing to do, they will freak. If you have nothing to do, you freak, isn't it? So in this condition, it'll not go down. Now, everything that you consume is higher simply because you're at a higher RPM, that's all. Within 3 days, we can teach you a simple form of meditation which will bring down your metabolism by approximately 24%. This is the highest drop that you can have in conscious states of meditativeness. If metabolism drops beyond that, you will not have any sense of body. If you sit here, you have no sense of body. It is from this that a yogi is sitting. See, if you sit down here, even if you don't have a watch, your legs, your back, your bottom, everything is keeping time, isn't it? Hello? You don't need a watch. If you sit here for 3 hours, you know you need to get up. Body knows. So, someone is sitting for hours or days because there is no sense of body. Why there is no sense of body is not only because of drop in metabolism, it is also the intensity of your energy which is not biological energy. Another dimension of energy is fully intense. Once it pervades the entire body, you have no sense of body. If I go into a program 10 hours, 12 hours, I am the only one continuously drinking water, but I am the only one who will not go to the restroom. I am the only one who will not take a break. Everybody, every 2 hours they take a break and come back. Simply because how identified you are with your physiological process determines these things to start with. But there is also sadhana, there is also certain work to be done with your system. So everybody may not be willing to do that level of sadhana, but everybody must do some sadhana. Something so that what you wish to do, you can do effectively. Whatever it is in your life you wish to do, you must be able to do it as well as you can. What the hell you do is not my concern, but whatever the hell you're doing, you must do it well, isn't it? Hello? You must do it well. That's very important for a human being, that we must do it well. So for this, it's very, very important that your own body and your own mind is not an impediment. Your own body and your own mind doesn't trip you all the time. There must be platforms on which you stand. Right now, people have sunk into it. See, this is a platform, it's good. Suppose it lets you sink into it, it's not a good place to sit and talk, isn't it? It's holding us up, so it's nice. Your body, your mind should hold you up all the time. If that happens, your dependence on the outside will come down. And also, water is not always consumed through the mouth. Body consumes water in so many ways. If you activate the system in a certain way, it consumes energy. See, right now you're eating food, drinking water, breathing air, everything for what? To generate energy. But science has clearly proved to you there's enough energy everywhere. So if you're able to take in energy as it is, if you're able to imbibe energy, how is this possible? The word yoga means just this. The word yoga means you're beginning to obliterate the boundaries of your individuality. Right now, this is me, that's you, 100% clear, isn't it? Why? Because you think this body is me, that body is you. This is a clear boundary. My body and your body has a clear boundary. My mind and your mind also largely has a boundary. Here and there we may overlap a little bit. But there is no such thing as my life and your life. Have you ever blown soap bubbles, or were you a serious boy even when you were in school? No. Did you blow soap bubbles? Let's say we sit here and blow soap bubbles. You got this big bubble, I got that big bubble. Now I said, this is my bubble, that little one is yours, this is my bubble. Oop, it went. Now I don't say, this is my air, that is your air. Life is just like this. This is a living cosmos. You captured some, I captured some. How much you capture will determine the significance and the quality of your existence. I want you to understand this clearly. How much of life have you captured will determine this. You may have a big brain, you may have a huge intellect, you may have a lot of knowledge, but you will not still live a significant life. Only if you capture a lot of life, if you're a big bubble, then it's significant. If you have a big body, other people may look at you and say, he's very big, but within you, that'll not be the experience. If you have a big brain, people think, oh, he is very smart, but within you, you will not have a significant life. Only if you capture a huge amount of life within you, then if you sit here, simply if you sit here also, it's too fantastic. When it's like that, whether you open your eyes, close your eyes, whether you do something, you don't do something, it doesn't really make a difference to you. Only then you will live in the world as not being a vested interest, because what you do and do not do, what happens to you and does not happen to you, does not determine the quality of your life. That is when we can really trust you, isn't it? Otherwise we don't know why you're doing the surgery. I mean, these question marks have come, isn't it? Can I tell you a joke? A man went for a surgery, he needed a surgery, so he went to the doctor. Doctor said, this is in United States, so doctor said it'll cost you $36,000. Then he said, doctor, I cannot pay that, I don't have insurance. Then doctor said, don't worry, you pay $3,000 per month. The patient said, but that looks like a car payment, you know, installment to buy a car. The doctor smiled and said, yes, I am buying a car.